started because I'm sure you guys want to get home or back to work before it gets worse. So thank you guys for coming. I know that the weather isn't the best for presentations, and I'm sure this is probably maybe the last thing you guys want to do, but I really appreciate the time and effort for coming here. Again, I apologize for my snow boot attire. Usually I'm a little bit more professional, but like I said, when it's cold and snowy, I would rather be warm and comfortable. So thank you guys. You know, I hope that I know some of you, as raise of hands, how many of you actually know what ListHub is, what we do, how we work? So about 50%, and some of you have no idea what we do or who I am or what I'm here today, right? Okay, so I'll educate you on all that stuff. So first, I always like to start off with a little quote. This is something we found not too long ago. I'm sure a lot of you have spent money on advertising at some point in this industry, whether it was print advertising or online advertising in the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So I'm sure some of you can kind of relate to this quote. Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. So this was many, many years ago with John Wanamaker, the father of modern day advertising. So wanted to welcome you guys again. You guys should all have my business card. If for some reason you don't, write this contact information down. I am your account rep. So if you have a question 20 minutes after this presentation and you're on the road thinking of me, or 2 weeks from now, feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. Like I said, if you did not get a business card of mine, I'm more than happy to give you one at the end of the presentation. So. On the agenda today, we are going to talk about ListHub, online marketing best practices, and measuring your ListHub reports. I'm really going to go into detail the importance of just our basic product that your MLS is offering you. And let me just check one thing to make sure this is the right presentation. Sorry, guys. Okay, good. Made me nervous there for a second. So yes, I really want to kind of hound on the importance, and most of you guys are broker owners, managing brokers, correct? Because I know in some states everyone's a broker clear across the board now. So how ListHub works, we're connected with your MLS. So the MLS that you guys enter all your data in, that's what we're a part of. You guys enter your listings into the MLS. From the MLS, we push all of your listings into a broker dashboard, which I'll go over here in a little bit. So every single one of your listings for every agent in your office, every active listing gets pumped into our dashboard. When it's pumped into our dashboard, we push it out to the publishers like Zillow, Trulia, HomeFinder, Homes.com. The list is pretty extensive, to up to 60 publishers, and I'll show you this too in a bit. Because we're sending or syndicating your listings out to these sites, they are updating 4 times a day. We pull from the MLS 4 times a day. So if you guys make a price reduction, listing goes active, it goes under contract, it's sold, you add more photos, whatever change that is made 4 times a day, ListHub is pulling that listing and updating it on these sites 4 times a day as well. So you guys don't have to go in there manually enter your listings to Zillow or Trulia or any of these sites. You don't even have to go update them because we update them for you. So the process is, from the MLS, you enter your listings, we pick them up to your broker dashboard, we syndicate them out. In return, all these sites have terms and contracts with us. And in result of us actually sending them the listings, they are sending us all the data back. So analytics, the metrics, the traffic behind all your listings, which is another reason why I'm here today. So does this make sense of how the process works? I know some brokerages, some agents spend the time and money to go in there and manually update Zillow and Trulia and put listings, but then that of course takes time away from you guys, and if there's a price reduction or changes, it just becomes so time consuming to do that when you guys have other things to do, obviously. Like I said, we are partnered with over 60 national publishers. This is about maybe a quarter of it, but we also have an extended network of up to 900 sites. What that means, a lot of the sites usually in the top 2 rows, so Zillow, Trulia, Yahoo Homes, HomeFinder, a lot of these sites power other real estate websites or real estate sections of websites. For example, HomeFinder. A lot of the times they are powering a lot of online real estate sections of like magazines or newspapers. So I was in Chicago not too long ago, and I actually pulled up their example. The Chicago Tribune's real estate section is powered by HomeFinder. So if I'm in Chicago looking for a property somewhere in the city, and I'm on Chicago Tribune and I go to the real estate section, and I type in the requirements of what I'm looking for in a property, and it searches. It's actually redirecting me to Home Finder, but technically as a consumer, I still think I'm on Chicago Tribune's website. So really your listings are safe and secure with over 60 national publishers, but if you're syndicating your listings to all these sites, you have the potential to go to 900 different websites. Does that make sense? Accuracy. How many of you have experienced inaccurate listings of your own, or people called you for a listing that's not even on the market, but they said they saw it on Zillow or Trulia? A good amount. I'm sure everyone, even if you didn't raise your hand, I'm sure everyone here has had that issue. It's an issue that's sometimes gotten worse in some cases. I think ListHub is going to kind of slowly be the solution to this. In January 2013, so a year ago, we sent out over 74 million listings in just that month. And of those 74 million listings, only 56 of them were labeled like an inaccurate issue. What I also love about ListHub is usually within 48 hours, we figure out what the issue is and we fix it for you. A lot of the times there might be a disconnect in data between us and the MLS, or us and Zillow, or maybe some things enter wrong into the MLS can't approve it, so it's not up on these sites. Whatever the case is, you let us know and we fix it. So majority of these 56 support cases were fixed within 48 hours. Our accuracy rate, I think, is pretty much as close to perfect. When it's technology and data, it's really hard to be close to perfect because there's always those hiccups. But another thing also too, when we're syndicating your listings out, we'll use Zillow as an example. And there's a listing that goes active on the market, say, yesterday, Monday. And Zillow sees, okay, well, this is weird. This listing just went on the market in Rice Lake. It's for sale, it's listed at this price, but we actually have the same exact listing that's been on the market for 2 years that was active from Rice Lake. Well, Zillow will see, okay, this listing that says it's been active for 2 years is clearly inaccurate. So they'll take the correct one, because we're giving them our data, and say this is the correct one because it's connected to the MLS, it just went live on the market, and they will take away that old, stale data and information. So it's like killing a weed. Slowly, as we send these accurate listings, we, deplete all these other inaccurate ones. So we are connected with over 450 MLSs. On average, we usually, I think last year in 2013, we averaged about 6 new MLSs a month. In, I think, the last quarter, we got over 45 MLSs signed on with us. We are growing. I think this number, we share it not to just say that we're large and well connected, but we're here to be a solution for MLSs, brokerages, and agents. We have over 60 national publishing websites, like I said. We send out over 2.5 million listings a day, and we are connected with 48,000 brokers, and that number is growing rapidly. And like I said, we're sharing this information not to say ListHub's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but we're just sharing that we want to be a choice for brokers to say, okay, this is what we're offering you to make your life a little bit easier, to make it more accurate, to get your listings out there, showcase them properly, and save you time and effort. Does anyone work for any of these franchises below here? If you want, just stay after the presentation for a little bit. We partnered up a little bit differently with these franchises, so if you guys have friends, that are actually part of these franchises, we just brand it a little bit differently, and accessing their reports and their inventory is a little bit different as well. So we'll just stay after class a little bit for the presentation. So with all this, all these numbers, all these listings we're sending out, all the MLSs we are connected with, we are collecting terabytes of consumer traffic. A terabyte is a very, 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 very small, teeny tiny form of data. We are collecting all this data non-stop, whether you're purchasing the reports or not. We are figuring out where these online consumers are located, what listings they're most interested in, everything down to how much traffic each and every listing is getting, how many clicks it's getting, how many leads it's getting, and I'll go to more detail on that in a bit. I'm sure a lot of you are, trying to figure out exactly how the syndication works, and when we push these listings out, what kind of terms and conditions that we have. We are the largest provider of listings to these sites, so when we partnered up with them, we made sure that we had really strict guidelines. A lot of the time, Zillow and Trulia and these sites will have their own terms and conditions, which really isn't in the benefit of the agent. They just want to sell their listing or sell your lead to someone else. They just want to make money. Zillow is one of our partners. Trulia is one of our partners. We never put them down, but that's just the way it is. If you see, when you log into your account, you'll see a terms of use website scorecard. The terms of use will just actually go into great detail exactly what we offer an agent rather than you guys just going in and putting your listing on Zillow. A lot of the times there might be some guidelines that say state law or MLS law says you can only have so many photos, so you can't add more. When you're sending your listing through us, we pull everything we can from the MLS and you can absolutely go in there and change it. If you are putting your listing in there manually, say on Zillow, they have every right to take that lead and sell it if they want to. When we syndicate your listing via ListHub to Zillow, they are by contract have to send you the lead. They can never sell you back your own lead. When we send them the information, we give them the email address and correct phone number, so if there is a lead that's coming from Zillow, it will go directly to you. We don't keep it, we don't sell it back to you either, it goes directly to your mailbox. Protections covered under the ListHub agreement. I want to kind of skim through this pretty quick, but like I said, publisher must update site at least daily. Zillow and Trulia have to do at least 4 times a day, and every other site has to do daily. So like I said, these are the guidelines that they have to abide to continue to be partners with us. If for some reason these sites don't abide by these rules and regulations, we'll drop them. I mean, we've signed a very detailed contract with them to say we have our brokers and agents in our best interest, and this is what we want to do for them. Listing data may only be used for.
You'll drop Zillow.
What was that?
You'll drop Zillow?
If they aren't abiding by our guidelines and they're upsetting a lot of our clients and the data is inaccurate, we're here because we want accurate data out there. I don't think Zillow will ever push our buttons because we are the largest provider of listings for them.
Okay.
So if they don't abide by us and we have to drop them, they would be not happy people. So yeah.
Last 2 items you were talking about, one, the previous one and now this one. How do you track that? How do you know they're not trying to sell somebody's listing to somebody else?
Well, one, if we ever have an agent say, I have my, for our reporting, we can track. They say, oh, I've never gotten a phone call or an email on this listing, but we look in our back end of our system and see, oh, well, we've actually sent you 50 emails in the last 2 months. We'll just use that for an example, and you've never gotten those emails. Then we'll investigate, and then we can actually dig, because we're partnered with Zillow to see, okay, where did these leads go? And then we'll be able to see if they sold them or if they went to some other email address. And then the other case too, if they're not showcasing your property properly, or they don't have you as a listing agent on there, and we scan that and we see that, we'll call Zillow and say we're having an issue. A lot of the times our agents, your guys's, your client base, your sellers are really into seeing their listings online. I probably have phone calls weekly from a client saying, hey, my seller was online and they see that something didn't show up in the remarks. Can you figure out why? 50% of the time it might be because something that was entered in the MLS was inaccurate and we took it out, or 50% of the time Zillow for some reason did not pick that up. So we call Zillow and say, you have to pick this up. This is the data we're sending you, and so they pick it up and they change it. So I had a question back there.
Does it comply with the rules if they send it to you as the listing agent and the other 3 Zillow pros that are on?
No, they send it just to you. That's our contract with them. So if I was looking at one of your properties on Zillow and I see that you're the listing agent, and I go into the little web capture lead form and I said, hey, I'm really interested in this property, here's my contact information, call me. That email will go directly to the email that we have attached into our database in the MLS. It will not go to any other person. So, we're not babysitting this because we're hoping that Zillow and Trulia and these, websites are reputable companies that are abiding by our rules and guidelines. But like I said, these sites don't want to lose us because, like I said, power in numbers. When we're connected with 90% of the MLSs, we drop off, there's 90% of their listings gone on their website. And then they're just looking for agents, for sale by owners who will go in there and manually put that, but then it's going to be stale data because you guys get busy. I have agents that say, oh, I hand enter it. I'm like, well, do you update it with photos, or if you do a price reduction? They're like, well, yeah, sometimes, but as long as it's out there getting viewed, I'll just get phone calls on it. But we want to make sure that it's the accurate data, so when these consumers are going on the website and someone's really interested in the home, that there's an appropriate phone number and email address to contact you directly. So if they call you, they pick up that phone and say, hey, I want to see this listing this afternoon or first thing tomorrow morning, that you get that call and you're like, okay, I'll put you on my calendar, I'll meet you there in the morning at 9.
Well, if one person is doing an IDX feed, doesn't that kind of screw everything up?
If you as the individual brokerage, say you bought your own IDX feed to send to Zillow.
Yeah.
With this contract though, the IDX feed, like for Zillow, probably only be updated once a day. When we send our listings to Zillow, it's 4 times a day. For some reason, if you make a change in the afternoon and your IDX feed's not gonna update Zillow till the next day, we update 4 times a day, so more than likely within a couple hours after you update it, we'll update on all these sites. So a lot of these terms of use won't be included if you're syndicating your listings to them, say via your website or via a direct IDX feed. You know, we wanted to offer something a little bit different that's gonna be a little bit more accurate, a little bit more up to date. You know, as you can see, listing data may not be used after it is off the market. If you guys are sending your IDX feed, they have access to see how much that listing was actually sold for, and they can use that data to do the estimates, you know, the data to say, oh, in this area, this is the average home, like the median home price. When that house is sold via our data, our feed that we're sending, they don't have, Zillow, Truly, all these sites will never know how much that house sold for. They can't use the data to their, you know, benefit to basically kind of hinder your selling, if that makes sense.
I guess I'm questioning I mean, I know it's happening,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, we've had 2 in the office in the last 2 weeks where the listing agent got an email from somebody to request a showing, and then 2 other people, they called them back and they said, oh, so-and-so already called us. Well, they were the pros on that site, so.
And maybe with Zillow, and that's something to look into, if your own website is feeding, you know, to Zillow, or if your agents are putting their listings on Zillow, that might be something that, like I said, I know when agents manually put their listings on Zillow, they are never assured that they'll get their listings unless they buy the, you know, Super Duper Pro Plus with Zillow. With us, even if you don't buy a thing with Zillow or a thing with us, you're the only person that this consumer can contact. Of course, if they rabbit trail 2-3 hours later, find a different property, and they call that agent and that agent answers, that's something, you know, we can't do, but we're just hoping that that first initial, like, I'm interested in this home, I'm calling you or emailing you, will go directly to you, no one else.
So that was my question, is if somebody is, maybe an office or somebody's providing a direct feed to Zillow where they do have the right to sell that to somebody else. I mean, I guess I'm getting back to Craig's idea of how do you police that, because to me, it seems like that would be very difficult.
Well, because when the whole data we send them, when they put in that web capture lead form, it's not going to Zillow, it's going directly to you. So Zillow, in the sense, I guess, if you wanna put it really simple, is when if I'm a consumer interested in a property and I put that email address, the data's not going to Zillow. We're tracking that data for ListHub and it's going directly to you. So Zillow is saying, oh, they got a lead, but they're not seeing it came from lauren.hill@listhub.com interested in this property. And if we have this and we have our email address, we're gonna sell it to 4 different people. And then whoever answers her first, you know, she'll be happy, you know, as a clam. And then we'll have our paying customers, you know, getting this lead. So the data that we're sending them will only feed that lead back to you. It's not feeding it to Zillow, it's not feeding it, I mean, like I said, we're tracking it, but it's not feeding it through us. It will come, it will say a Zillow lead, but Zillow's not tracking that email or that information. Does that make sense? So that's a lot of the times too why people opt into choosing ListHub to syndicate their listings, because we do have all these rules and regulations to benefit our agents and brokerages. You know, publisher must display a set of minimum fields, including price, address, broker name, etc. A lot of the times, Zillow will say, okay, if we're getting feeds from IDX feeds or other websites, we'll do the bare minimum. We'll just put the information in there, and then we'll scrape everything else. You know, because we want them to call us and pay to put, you know, more photos and more information. I'm not saying like, you know, Zillow's the offender of this. A lot of these sites are. But when we send the listing, everything that's in the MLS, if there are, you know, 14 paragraphs, which I know probably not, but if there are 14 paragraphs about this property, we send all 14 paragraphs to Zillow, and they have to show all 14 paragraphs on Zillow. A lot of times if you manually do that, you won't be able to do that. If you have 30 photos in the MLS, we send 30 photos. A lot of the times, I know if agents manually do it, you have only an allotted set amount of photos that you can use if you're not paying a paying customer on these websites. But with us, whatever amount of photos we have in the MLS, we send, and you can absolutely go back into Zillow and add more photos as well too. And then, you know, publisher must route any consumer leads to the email address designated by the broker as the lead email address. So to kind of hound into what we were just talking about, I mean, by contract. You know, like we said, we don't have a police patrol that's, you know, following every single lead that's going through, but Since I've been with the company, I've never had, you know, a brokerage or an agent come up to me with a really major concern about saying, hey, I know I should be getting phone calls on those listings where I buy the reports, I see them getting views and I see them getting clicks and it just doesn't make sense, I have 0 leads. You know, why is that? If that ever is a question, you know, you call us and then we'll go in and police and we'll figure out what the issue is.
Do you do any checking? I mean, it would seem to me that if this is a rule that you have in place, you might have somebody that checks.
I know we're constantly scanning the maybe top 10 to 12 publishers, you know, constantly making sure that they are getting our data feed. I mean, even back to the accuracy issue we first start off, we are constantly scanning to make sure that if we're sending them 74 million listings, or let's say 2.5 million listings in the day, that these sites better have 2.5 million listings on their site that are actually generated by ListHub. You know, we actually see the data because from our tech side, we see the MLS data coming in and then we see the data coming out. We can go in the back end of our system and see exactly what we're feeding to Zillow and if it's actually showcasing on Zillow properly. You know, besides that, I mean, we scan it every now and then, but they don't want to mess up with our terms and rules and regulations.
I guess my question is you can have a person go in and request information or do a contact and that should go back through and it should go to the listing agent or company.
Or company, yeah.
Okay, company. That's not that hard to check.
No, you just have to go in there and you can do it, even like the broker or the
So
agent.
my question is, does ListHub do that or should brokers do that?
Well, I know we're constantly scanning to make sure, but I mean, like, if you have a listing that's on the market and doesn't get a lead for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I mean, we just obviously see that there hasn't been a lead go through. And then, I mean, some of the times if you feel like this is kind of weird or you call us and say, I haven't gotten an email at all, we'll go in there and check it, or you can just send in a little like, hey, this is a test. I'm interested to see if this is actually going to my email, and you can send it, and if it doesn't go to your email, then you call us. It's a red flag, and then we'll take care of it. But we're scanning, so when we do see those emails go through, we know that said brokerage is getting these leads. But like I said, if you're not getting a lead in the first 2 or 3 weeks, we can't scan anything because nothing's there. So, does that answer any other questions about this? It's just a benefit to syndicate your listings via us, and that's why your MLS has kind of has chosen to connect with us, because we do have these rules and regulations that are implemented to benefit you guys. You know, I hate to say it, but you know, Zillow and Trulia, if you aren't a paying customer and you're not syndicating your listings through us, they figure, how do we get money? How do we get money into these guys? So, do we only allow them to put 10 photos up here and only, you know, 160 characters about the property, and we can't assure that the lead will go to them, so this is how we're gonna get their money. Yeah.
Going back to Marty's question or comment to clarify it so I understand it. What you're saying is if you're going through ListHub, you're protected basically unless the company or an agent is manually feeding the information to, say, Trulia. And then that kind of negates or cuts into the protection that ListHub is providing.
We still protect you and we trump everyone. So if you have an IDX feed, or say your agents are manually entering their listings in right now, and then you as an office decide we actually want all of our listings to be syndicated to Trulia and Zillow via ListHub, 1, your agents won't have to do that anymore, and 2, they're constantly going to be protected by our rules and regulations. If you guys are manually do it, we don't protect you guys. And there's a lot of state laws, there's a lot of MLS laws that go in here that say we can only allow, you know, this much information. You know, we can only allow this many photos. We can't allow if somebody wants to put in their remarks, you know, within, you know, minutes from this shopping area, or, you know, close to this high school, which was named the best high school in the area, et cetera, et cetera. If you're just a regular agent with no connection with ListHub or Zillow and you do that, Zillow probably won't allow you to do that unless you spend some money. Does that answer your question? No?
You started to answer, then you kind of, the protection is what I'm talking about.
You only get that with ListHub.
But if the board is connected with ListHub and we're syndicating, but then I go out and put my own information on Zillow as well, then we've kind of lost some of that protection that ListHub has provided, because now.
No, you'll have 2 listings on the site.
Yeah.
So if you have 2 listings, the listing that's going to be a ListHub will always be up to date and be protected, this one will not.
Right, that's
So
what I'm saying.
if I'm a consumer and I see the one that you put on there and I send a lead in, there's a 50-50 chance you're gonna get it.
Okay.
If I see the listing that's actually syndicated via ListHub, you're gonna get that lead and
So
you're
the key
protected.
is not to have a separate IDX or
Correct.
agent manually entering their own
Well,
information.
if you're using ListHub to syndicate your listings, that's one of the solutions to many issues. You don't have to have your agents go in there and manually enter these listings. I mean, I have brokerages that will just tie into our syndication. They will never ever do anything else on Zillow, Trulia, Homes.com, Realtor.com, nothing. Unless they wanna, pay some marketing dollars to have extra advertising. But they know their listings are getting there, they know that they're up to date. When they go off the market, they're off that website. So, now did I answer your question? So, okay. Leads, like I said, I could, stand up here and say how important it is to get your listings on these sites and to have exposure, but really I'm sure the one thing that you guys are all really interested in is just getting those phone calls and leads. In September 2012, we had over 690,000 leads go directly to our clients, to our customers. To jump down a little bit, we sent out nearly 1 million leads in March 2013, which was a 40% increase in just 6 months. We sent out a survey, I believe it was in October or November of 2013, that just asked, kind of a random gathering of a lot of our customers, saying, how many leads do you think we sent out in October or November alone? And of course, we got a whole bunch of mix. We had over 3.5 million leads that we sent out directly to our customers. So these are the leads that I was talking about that aren't being sold back to other agents, that Zillow or Trulia or these sites aren't keeping. These are leads going directly back to you.
Do you have any way of tracking or checking the accuracy of those leads? I don't know if anybody else in the room has, but over the years, I've had a lot of, somebody's sitting up at 1 o'clock in the morning and just going in and putting in, false email addresses or false phone numbers, so you try to follow up on a lead and there's nothing there. Is your system?
Well, Zillow should not be doing that, because our system is coming directly from that web capture lead form on Zillow. If there is a company in Switzerland that is going to Zillow.com and sending 10,000 leads a night because they have a software, I don't know what they would see that benefit, but I mean, we send it to you. If it looks fishy, then of course don't answer back to it, but usually all the leads that we send out are the web capture lead form that someone's actually had to search that property, so a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 2-bathroom house in this area, and I actually had to, view it out of 60 properties. I selected your property, I looked at the photos, I looked at all the information, and then I put the web capture lead form in there. I could see if we have a, special scan for that. I don't know that because I don't work in the tech side. But I would assume that I don't know what the benefit of some of those companies like that would actually put in. I mean, of course, they get your business.
Well, I
and
mean,
all
just,
that,
you got
but
people, individuals going
Yeah.
out there and, geez, we've been partying all night and, it's.
mess around with
Yeah.
these listings. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly I've been with this company for quite a while, and I've grown up in this industry. I've never had at least since I've been with ListHub, I've never had anyone say they've had that issue. You might be, the first one, but like I said, when we send those listings back, I mean, unless I have to see if maybe Zillow or ListHub has a scan that can actually see if it's basically a spam lead. I can get back to you on that. I can ask after this presentation, but for the most part, these leads are the ones that have the phone number, the email address, have an actual content that says, I'm interested in this property, please call me back. So we might have a scanner that says if there's a really odd number and no email address, and it says something really weird in the text box, maybe we don't send it to you at all, maybe we look at it first. So, but I can find out a little bit after the presentation.
When an email comes, a lead comes into you, does it indicate it's coming from you?
I will say just from Zillow, but you'll know it would come basically from ListHub, because if you're syndicating your listing via ListHub and it has a presence on Zillow and Trulia and all these sites, and you get an email, you obviously know is because we got your listing exposed on these websites. So a lot of the times the reason why you also want to connect that it came from Zillow is because you want to know as an agent, say, wow, I actually get more leads from Trulia than I do Zillow. You know, maybe for 2014, I want to spend my marketing dollars on spending some advertising on Trulia. So we want to make sure that you're educated to know where your leads are coming from as well. Any other questions? Why online marketing? Clearly these numbers, don't lie. About 89% of buyers use a real estate agent. So the agents are very, important still in the, purchasing process, even though they have all the tools online to find their properties. 91% of home buyers who use the internet purchase their home through an agent. So a lot of the time, these home buyers, they're doing their homework. They know exactly what listings they want to see, but they're finding them. They're coming to you, say, I want to see these 5 properties. I'm interested. They're just a little bit more educated. So it's important to make sure that your listings are showcased, because if not, how are they going to call you? If they stumble upon your business, they're only going to see the listings that oh, you're interested in a 4-bedroom house. This is what I have. This is what I can show you. So it's making sure that you're having all your listings out there accurately first, so then they have a way to contact you. Does anyone spend ad dollars on print media, newspaper? Yeah.
If you would go back, so that 47% of who's found the home they purchased online.
Mm-hmm.
In a little more detail, what does that mean exactly?
These are from the National Association of Realtors. So this is saying about 50% of people who start their purchase, like who look for their home online, that house they actually found and called you on is the house they actually buy. So about half of everyone who calls you on, say, hey, I found your listing on Zillow, I found 4 other listings I found, can you show me these properties? And you say absolutely. Half of your consumers, or almost half of your consumers, one of those 5 properties will be the house they buy.
Does that take into account the ones that I'm sending, like through our multiple listing? We've got, you set in the criteria so that once I work with a buyer, I can set the criteria up so that they're getting, new listings per day type thing. Does that take that into account? Because I can tell you, anecdotally in this room, 47, so half of everybody, first off, I already knew them.
Well, we're taking account of online buyers, somebody who does not work with you yet. An online buyer who is, if I was looking for a property here and I wanted to relocate and I went on Zillow and I started looking at properties and I found 4 or 5 that I love and I wanted to see, and it's in the perfect area, neighborhood, everything. And I call you as my agent and I say, I found these 5 properties. I know this one's actually listed by you, but here are 4 others I want to see. I'm probably going to end up buying one of the properties that I showed you.
So it's not taking into account the ones that after you called me and said, well, I don't like this one, but now that we've met, you seem like a nice guy, can you set me up to feed me any new listings that come on?
This was a random, kind of clear across the board. NAR said, okay, we're going to call this many thousands of brokerages and talk to this many thousands of agents and find out if when you actually get these leads calling, do people end up buying? Can you give us an actual number of your inventory for the last 12 months? How many people came in with 5 or 6 listings and they actually bought one of the listings they found online? And so these agents and brokerages said, oh, about 50%, 75%, or none, and we averaged it all together, and that's the number that NAR got. Okay. So I would assume that this was just a call from NAR to say, okay, you've had 20 listings this year that sold. Can you tell me if those buyers that came in through you were any of these properties the ones they found on their own, online, and then they called you? And if you were like, oh yeah, about 13 of my listings, or actually 13 of my listings were 13 buyers that came in with the property they already viewed online that they ended up buying.
So I'm doing something wrong if half of all my customers didn't find the house on.
Well, no, because if you have a lot of,
I guess what I'm getting at is, are you I'm trying to, and I won't belabor the point, but I guess, are you overemphasizing maybe where it's coming from?
Well, I just want to emphasize that the importance of having accurate data and having it all up to date and all the photos and accurate remarks and everything online is important, because 50% of people, if I surveyed 100 people online looking for a home right now, about 50 people are actually seeing the property they're going to end up buying. So it is important to have exposure. It's important to have accurate exposure. It's important that your contact information is on there. So if I see your listing and I want to call you, I call you directly. Yes.
If that's from the survey that the National Association of Realtors does, it's a survey of people who have purchased homes, and the question probably was formatted, how many of you found the home that you bought online?
Mm-hmm.
And then they answered it.
We said this, or this is from the agent, so agents gave the actual raw data.
This is your survey?
No,
earlier?
NAR
Yep.
sent this out to agents and asked the agents, can you go back and keep track or look at if you've had 30 listings that sold in 2013. All those buyers that came in, all 30 of those separate buyers, did you show the listing that they bought, or did they come to you or find the listing they like that they eventually bought online on their own? Because a lot of the time someone might call you on a listing and they might see it and they might not love it, and then you'd be like, oh, well, I actually have, you know, some more other listings that I think you'd be interested in, and they end up buying one of those. That clearly is a buyer who did not find the house they ended up purchasing online. They found you online, but they didn't find the home. So when NAR sent this survey out to agents saying, okay, if you have this 30 listings, and maybe 10 of them were people that came to you with 5 listings and they end up buying one of those 5, that's in the survey number. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm like not,
Well, let's move on.
okay. I know you're thinking. I'll just skip through this, but it's just basically saying that, you know, it's important to, you know, spend your advertising dollars, marketing dollars online. You obviously know that print media, traditional media is kind of, you know, being depleted out the window. So you're gonna see mobile explosion, the mobile app explosion kind of coming up, especially this year. We saw a lot in 2013. Chase Bank created an app called My New Home. They skipped building a website altogether because they said, okay, I feel that, you know, my projected, you know, idea is that in 2014, 2015, that people are gonna use mobile apps more than they use online. Zillow sees more Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com see more traffic on their mobile apps on the weekend than they do their website. And clear across the board in 2014, it's projected that all apps, not just in the real estate industry, will surpass online. So a lot of the times people won't be going to HomeDepot.com, they might be using the Home Depot app instead. So you're gonna see this if you guys spend any advertising dollars with Realtor.com, Zillow, or Trulia. It's probably, excuse me, a good idea to ask them what's included in your package for mobile application advertising. So. Broker control, this is something I really want to hound in, that as a broker, managing broker, broker owner, you have complete control of how we syndicate your listings, where we syndicate your listing, and where your leads go. Under your publisher network, you'll have the option to opt into all the publishers that are available or select and deselect the ones you like. If you want to have maximum exposure, in this case we have 58 out of 58, but if you're like, I only want to focus on maybe the top 10, 15 websites and I just want my listings on those sites, as a broker you can absolutely do that. We give you filters to do it as well. If you want to make sure that your listings are on no sites that have for sale by owners, because you just don't want to be in the mix with, you know, regular old Joe down the street putting his listing on the market, then you click that no for sale by owners and it will filter out the websites that have for sale by owners on them. So we give you kind of some tools to filter out options to make sure that, you know, you're syndicating your listings to the sites that you want. I'd say probably 90% of all my brokerages go to all of them.
Will we know which sites offer FSBOs?
If you click the no for sale by owners, it will take them all away. So then you'll actually be able to see. If you click, you know, refreshes daily, which they all do. If you click refreshes daily, I think maybe one. I think it's like Lakes, like Lake Homes or something. So, let's see. You'll also, this is kind of the Yelp of real estate. For every publisher, I know everyone in here knows Zillow, Trulia, all these sites from, you know, like the back of their hand, but there might be some websites that you don't know a lot about. We give you this publisher choices to go in, learn a little bit more about them, and then of course as a brokerage you can go in there and rate these websites. If you have something to say about Yahoo Homes, whether it's a good experience or bad experience, you can of course share your thoughts, you know, publish it, and then you can see, you know, where hundreds and thousands of other brokerages across the US said about these sites. It's also maybe a good tool if there is a site that you don't know a lot about, but you're kind of hearing it in the business a little bit. Go find out a little bit more about it and what other brokerages have to say. Does anyone use like a lead capture, or not lead capture form, like a lead routing where all emails to your office go to one central email for leads? I see a big shift going in that a lot lately, just because one, agents are busy. They're, you know, out in the field doing presentations, showing homes. They're not always on their phone, and you have eager buyers. I was one of them. I was looking at properties and I called, you know, an agent at a property I liked and left a message, and if 20 minutes later I found another property I liked and there was an agent on that one, I would call that agent. And I kind of just trickled until I found someone. And of course I was doing a rental property, but still, like, the first person I called lost my business because they didn't call me back, you know, quick enough, even though I was really eager to find something. So A lot of brokerages are saying, okay, I want somebody in the office who's constantly by the phone and email to get these leads. You can go into your database or into your dashboard with ListHub, put in a lead email and lead phone number. So when we send your listings to Zillow or Trulia, or any of these 60 other publishers we're connected with, and an online consumer is interested in your property and they call the number that's provided, it will get routed to that number and say it goes directly to your office manager, and your office manager is there 9 to 5 every day. And that office manager answers that phone and says, how can I help you? Like, I'm interested in this property. Oh, you know, that's Bob's listing. He's actually out of the office till noon, but he'll be back at like 12:30. I'm gonna put you on his calendar to call you directly. And so if I was a consumer and I called, I'd be like, oh, that's great. I'll put that on my calendar. Can't wait to hear from Bob. And so that lead wasn't lost, or called Bob and Bob didn't get to the call 4 or 5 hours later and that person already called someone else. So we give you the tool to do this as a brokerage. It's free, it's at no cost, it's in your account as well. And if you already have, how many of you already have a ListHub account? Okay, so there's some of you. So if you're just syndicating your listing and this is something you're interested in, it takes less than a minute to do. And then if you don't syndicate your listings with us, then you do after this, presentation, you can opt into this as well. We can also do a broker website redirect. This is at no cost as well. This is something that we offer you through your basic syndication MLS dashboard that your MLS is offering you. All you have to do is let us know what this means. There's a lot of sites, especially, and I hate to always harp on it, but Zillow, Trulia, HomeFinder, Homes.com. Some are usually kind of past the remarks, past the location of the property, etc. There's always a link that will say listing provided by, we'll say ListHub, and then it'll be the brokerage name, and then there's a link. We can link it back to your website. So if for some reason I'm a consumer that's really detail oriented and look from the top of the page to the bottom of the page and I see that and I click it, it's going to redirect to your website. And this again is at no cost. And if you want to do this with your current account you already have, just put in a support request or give us a call and we'll do it for you. So just to kind of go over the basic features, and this is what your MLS is already offering you, the exposure of 60 nationally publishing websites. You're going to get the filters for choosing these publishers, be able to access the publisher ratings, the automatic daily updates from the MLS, which is 4 times a day, redirect consumer traffic to your website, free leads via phone and email because we're not selling these back to you, they're going directly to you. Agent login, so your agents can create logins as well, so they can make sure that all the listings that they have active in the MLS are in fact in their own dashboard and see where their listings are going. Online technical support, like I said, if you see an inaccuracy issue or something red flag, let us know and we'll take care of it. Lead management control, and then the channel scorecard where you can actually go in and see exactly what every single website offers and their terms and conditions. Do they all take rental properties, commercial properties, for sale properties? What are their terms and conditions with ListHub? How do they protect my data? How are they, giving me an extra bonus? The thing about ListHub and Zillow or Trulia and these sites, when we're connected with them, we have the agent's best interest and the broker's best interest. If you don't use us, they have their best interest. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. So that's why we're here. So, any questions on the basic? Yes.
What type of listings do you cover? I mean, obviously you cover, your emphasis is on homes, but, and a lot of these sites here only carry homes. I mean, that's all that they work with. But you're saying any type of property from farms to commercial to industrial to anything?
Yep. I mean, anything
What do you do, filter out the ones that?
We send all of that data to these sites, and if for some reason, like Homes and Lake that we put on there, they probably don't take commercial properties, they probably take farms, ranches, and lakefront properties, so then they filter out the data that we feed, and then they only pick up those. The scorecard I was telling you about, and the terms of use, you'll be able to go in there and see, okay, I mean, like Zillow, Truly, all these bigger ones, they'll take commercial, rental, homes, lake homes, lands, all that stuff. But if you're interested to see, I wonder if this kind of unique property I just put in MLS will go to these sites. Just click on the scorecard and you'll see what sites are what.
If you go to a lot of these sites, you can only search for homes. They don't.
That's what the scorecard would say. I know with like Zillow, for example, they have rental properties, they have lots of lands, they have commercial properties, they have homes that are for sale. They have, I think, have for sale by owners too. But you can go in there and see, okay, well, I don't know if my listings will get on Yahoo Real Estate. Click on the scorecard and see what Yahoo Real Estate will say. And we have it in like a 200-page spreadsheet form where you can like go through and see, okay, this is what Yahoo Homes, this is all the sites that they go, or all the, you know, kind of filters they have on it. This is all this properties they accept. Okay, let me see what Trulia does. Let me see what, you know, Zillow does, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what the scorecard will show you.
What's the cost to enroll or to be involved?
Free, that's free. That whole thing is what your MLS is offering every agent brokerage here, a part of this association and this MLS. It's
Okay.
offering you guys the opportunity to have this. So we've been connected with you guys for quite a while, so there's some brokerages that have had this account and have been syndicating their listings via ListHub for years. And so we're just here to kind of educate you on this part, but that's free. So now I'm gonna tell you another reason why I'm here, to tell you things that you can buy, so. Okay. I don't wanna, I know we kind of kept a little bit later than, or lengthier on some slides, so I'm gonna skip through some stuff, but we're gonna go to the ultimate competitive advantage with ListHub reporting. This is the stuff that I'm gonna cover. We're gonna give you brokerage reports, which is critical marketing metrics for brokerage offices. So really being able to track all the metrics and traffic online for your entire office, which I'll show examples of. Complete metrics from Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes, Trulia, all those sites that, you know, 60 publishers that I talked about. And then agent tools for sellers. You're gonna get an e-marketing flyer, and then also an automated individual listing report, which is the report that's, you know, to the left for you guys, which I'll go more into detail here in a bit too. Brokerage report, the executive summary. I know this is probably small for a lot of you, but what this report does is if a brokerage, managing broker has 5 minutes a month to check their marketing and the advertising and just their traffic online, this is what you want to look at. How many of you actually spend money on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, any of the sites at all? As agents, do you guys do any Pro Plus, preferred agent or anything on Zillow, Trulia? Nothing? Well, if you guys want to, or you know you feel like there's a market to do that, or your agents in your office are doing that, this is going to be kind of your cheat sheet. One, it's actually going to show you what publisher is bringing you the most traffic. I have a lot of the times that people think, oh, Zillow brings me the most traffic to my listings, but Realtor.com or Trulia actually might by a long shot, or vice versa. You also get the top 3 locations of where your online consumers are looking at your properties. In the middle, you'll see kind of just a bar graph that's going to show you exactly your inventory, your views, and your leads every month for the last year. This will show you, okay, so these are my best months, this is when we get the most leads, this is when we get the most views, is it seasonality, what listings did you have on the market in the summer, because not only were a lot of people calling and leads and getting a lot of views, but you had a high inventory and a lot of homes sold. So figure out what properties you had on the market then and say this is actually what people are looking and interested in buying. Then if you jump down at the bottom, you also see the top property categories. So what properties in your inventory are the most sought out by online consumers? Knowing how to price these homes, knowing to tell your agents, here are the top 3 properties that people want. So if you're going to a listing presentation and it falls within one of these 3, make sure you close that and you get that listing. Or if you're out looking for properties, make sure you're looking for these. And then of course your top 3 agents in your office. This is the executive summary. To go into greater detail, this will show you all the publishers. Yes?
Will that break it into Zillow, Trulia, and who you get leads from?
Yep. Yeah, you'll see it, and this is going to be the graph that shows that. Right here, and again, I know it's super small for you guys, but you know, say publisher 1, 2, 3, 4 would be Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, Homes, Home Finder. We break it down by property view. So that's actually when somebody's viewing your property. It's not when it just comes up in a search. They're actually viewing your property. Click through. If they're redirecting to your website, we can track if somebody on Zillow saw your listing and then redirected to your website. Email, we'll track those leads, and then we'll track the phone calls as well. So if someone's on the Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com app and they call that number, we track that. Yep.
When you say redirect to the website, how does that work?
Back a couple slides when I said we could redirect traffic to your website with the broker website redirect. You just opt into it. It's free.
Does it give it a choice?
The
consumer
a lot of
choice?
brokerages don't even have websites, so if you do have one, you let us know, and then we make sure that we redirect to your website.
And
So
that would
it's-
be that broker's listings only?
It would be no, it's like the brokerage company website. So if you're Rice Lake Homes realty.com, then we can have a broker website redirect connection where if I go to the very bottom of the listing and it says this listing was provided by ListHub via, Rice Lake, homesrealty.com, I click on that and it will go to your website.
So at the bottom of the Zillow presentation, it would have that bar?
It would.
That
So if I'm on
address.
Zillow and I'm looking at the listing and I'm going through and I'm seeing where this house was located and what it last sold for and all the other data they give you, and then I see that little bar right there, if I actually am interested or I didn't already click on it up on top or I didn't already put a lead in and I click on that, it redirects them to your website.
And that's in all of them? That's a service from the MLS?
That is a service that we offer in your dashboard when you create the account. Not through, the MLS is offering you guys to create the free account for ListHub or from ListHub. But once you create that free account with ListHub, we have added bonuses like the lead management and then the broker website redirect.
Okay, so that's part of one of the packages you're gonna be selling us.
Nope, that's free.
That's included in the
That's
basic.
included in the basic. Everything before these slides that I covered was free that your MLS is offering you.
Alright.
So, does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's free and we wanna get on and do these things that you're telling us about, do we access it through our MLS or do we?
ListHub.com.
You have to go to listhub.com, enter in your code and so on.
When you create the account, you create login credentials, so you have a username and password, just like say a Facebook account. You go in, you enter, you have your broker dashboard. If you leave today and don't buy a thing and just sign up for free syndication, everything I said before these couple slides is basic. We offer it to you, your MLS is offering it to you.
Wayne, just so you know, Facebook is this thing that virtual friends.
So yeah, so this will break down every single publisher and all the traffic. This is gonna break down, as you can see.
Using Facebook, I think they.
I don't know why this bar up here is on here, but disregard that. But right here, you'll see the listing activity by inventory, so exactly what listings in your inventory are the most popular, and I'll give you a really good example how brokers use this to their benefit. But really showing you what listings in your inventory are the most sought out by consumers. Not just leads, but views. People, if they're viewing these properties, maybe they're not calling you because they don't love it, but at least you know that they really want a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom bathhouse in this price range with an attached garage. And then a lot of the times too, you can see what listings are not popular in your inventory and say, these listings, I don't want my agents to waste time on them anymore. Also, say if you have 10 agents in the office, we can tell you exactly from start to finish who are your top performing agents to your not so great agents. We track that by property views, listing count, inquiries. So what are the top 4 or 5 agents doing that the others aren't? Are they using professional photos? Are they painting a picture about living in the neighborhood and the house in the remarks? Are they advertising on Zillow and Trulia? Are they spending marketing dollars? What are they doing, to make this kind of a clear across the board so your whole brokerage and all the agents in your office can have just as much success? Because you want them to have more listings, you want them to get sold quicker, you want them to be a little bit more aggressive. It's great for mentoring too. If you have agents that are coming on board that might be new to this industry, find out the top 4 or 5 performing agents in the office and, say, okay, can you mentor the bottom 2 or 3 because they're new? Make sure you give them a lot of your experiences and what you do to make them, succeed in this business. Let's see. And this is the property category again. I don't know why that slide's in there. The big data, what is it and what can we do with it? Has anyone seen the show House of Cards? Okay. I was in Indiana a couple weeks ago and I did like 5 presentations and it was not until the 6th one that someone actually knew what House of Cards was or even I'm not saying watched it, but just knew about it. So you guys are a little bit better, but House of Cards, if anyone watched the Golden Globes, they actually made jokes about this and how popular Netflix has become and et cetera, but House of Cards is a show that was produced by BBC. And Netflix bought the rights to it, and then Netflix was using all the data that they've been collecting for years. So I'm a Netflix user, and I stream movies and TV shows. So they're tracking my data. They know exactly what actors, directors, producers, storylines I like. They know what TV shows I watch. They know when I stop during the middle of a TV show. That must mean I don't like it because I never picked it back up again. And they use all this data from every consumer that they have or every customer that they have. They bought the rights to House of Cards, and then it became the most watched show on Netflix. It's won awards. It has even The Orange is the New Black, which is a show. So they use all this data to benefit them, where you actually have to pay a subscription to stream these stream these shows online to watch them. So Netflix capitalized this, made a lot of money, and are continuing kind of this process. Like I said, they went from House of Cards to Orange is the New Black, and they're doing a lot of other shows like this as well. An interesting quote is, the goal is to become HBO faster than HBO can become us. I just think it's interesting because this is something that we can kind of put into the real estate industry. You know, we want to be ahead of the competitive curve, so before these bigger brokerages or, you know, other kind of tools that come in that are going to make this, you know, industry a little bit more complicated, how do we give you guys a competitive advantage before other people surpass you? And I think this is what we're going to offer with our data. So to kind of give you an example, like I said I would, the average listing gets a half a lead per month from a publishing website. This is just the average. You know, some of you might agree with this, some of you might disagree with it. But to give you an example, brokerage number 1 has 89 listings. As you can see, nearly 50% of the listing inventory received 0 leads. I know you guys can't see this, but like I said earlier, you want all the listings that you have, like majority of your listing count, to be in those top 2, 3, 4, you know, categories, because that's what people want. This brokerage, and this is actually a real brokerage, had 41 listings with 70 to 80,000 lots and lands for sale, and they got 0 leads. And I believe this was a 30-day summary. So in 30 days, these listings got nothing. So these agents or brokers are wasting time and money and effort on these properties that aren't being sold. I don't know if it was maybe a builder or maybe somebody who just had a lot of lots and lands and wants to get rid of them. But if I wanted these off my market and have my agents spend more time and effort on other listings, I would say let's drop it between 60 to 70,000. Let's get these sold. Let's use this data to our benefit. Get these 41 listings off and spend more time getting 41 listings in the top 2 or 3. And that's what brokerage number 2 did. They only have 15 listings, but they get 3 times as many leads as the average lead or the average listing gets a month. As you can see, they don't have 89 listings per se, but the 15 listings they do have are in their top like 4 or 5 categories, and that's where they get the most phone calls from. And that's, I mean, a lead, I can, like I said before, yeah, views are great, but it's the leads that are really going to sell homes. So if this is where all their phone calls are coming in from, then obviously these are the listings they want in their market.
Are you calling a lead on your form, is that an inquiry?
Yeah, an email inquiry, yeah. So it's an email and a phone call, we track both of them. The phone call we can only track on the mobile application.
But listed under inquiry is how you list it, right?
Yeah, you'll see inquiries, but then sometimes you'll see like, you know, it will say lead, but usually the verbiage we always use is inquiry. So. View it listing presentation flyers. These are going to get a little bit of a facelift in a couple of weeks. We just saw the sample of them a couple weeks ago, and they look pretty awesome. But this is going to showcase exactly when you go into a listing presentation where you're going to put their listing. You know, you're going to go into a listing presentation and say, not only are we going to price this house properly and get this house sold, but this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to showcase your listing on all these sites. This is the importance of marketing your home online. If you list your property with me, I'm actually going to be able to utilize data to make sure that we've listed the property correctly. If we're doing open houses to see if, you know, it actually works. Because I've connected with ListHub via my MLS, the data is always going to be up to date, so you never have to worry about your listing being stale or inaccurate online. And you're going to give them all this information, which is going to give them more confidence and trust you as a listing agent, hopefully choose you. And then the real kind of, I think, meat behind our system is our seller reports. The seller report will be branded with your brokerage logo. We can put your agent photo in there. We can put all your contact information. For the life of the listing, your sellers can get these reports. This report will actually showcase, you know, say a house on the market in May. It's still in the market right now. They'll see how many views they got from Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com, all these websites that you're going to. They're also going to see the click-throughs to see how many people actually were interested to redirect to your brokerage website. It's going to showcase the number of inquiries they've gotten over time. So if they've gotten 12 inquiries in the last 6 months it's been on the market, you educate them. A lot of the times I have agents that will call me and say my sellers call me constantly and are asking me how my listing is doing online. Am I getting phone calls? You know, are we getting traffic? Do you think people are liking this property? You know, is there anything I should be doing differently? This is going to educate them on all those questions. What you can't see behind it is also going to be a bar graph. We break it down week by week. As a total, how many views are you getting weekly? Are you increasing traffic or decreasing traffic? If you're decreasing traffic, maybe week 3, 4, 5, 6, it's a good indication. Maybe it's time for a price reduction. To actually give them some numbers and a graph to say, your listing is losing traffic, it's a little bit easier to tell them that maybe it's time for a price reduction. And I've actually had agents call me and say, my sellers have called myself and said, I actually think it's time for a price reduction because I want to get out of this house in 6 months and we are losing leads weekly and by a lot. So let's be a little bit more aggressive and lower the price. We'll also showcase on this list, on the seller report, all the other sites we're syndicating the listing to that might not be getting traffic, just to again remind them that they have exposure on all these sites. Does this make sense? And we'll also showcase exactly where their online consumers are located. I don't want to keep you guys too long. The great thing about the reports is that they're automated. You go in, put the seller first, last name, email address. You can copy yourself as the agent if you want to get these reports as well. So as your sellers are getting them, you're getting them as well. And you can set it up to say, I want it to go out in the first of the month, or I want it to go out twice a month, or I want it to go out weekly. You have that option to do so. Once you kind of set it and forget it. So for the life of the listing, that listing will get this report. We're going to be starting to do automated emails as well, where when a listing goes active in the MLS, you'll get an email from us that say, oh, 2724 Burton Avenue is now live. It's in your ListHub dashboard. Please set up the auto email. Right now, if you have a new listing that goes in the MLS, you have to sign into your ListHub dashboard, go in there, fill out this form, and everything. But in February, we're actually be rolling that out as well. So you'll get reminded when an active listing is new in our dashboard. So to give you kind of a vice versa, free versus upgraded accounts, you're going to get the automatic accurate exposure in over 60 national publishing channels and access to online customer support and platform tools. That's like the first 10 slides I went through. Upgrade, you're going to measure, I should change that, your 2014 advertising decisions. You're going to get complete reporting on every single one of your listings. Your agents will be able to get access to every single one of their listings to see these seller reports and send them out to their seller and get those listing presentations. You're going to get access to automated client email reports. The agents can post a photo on the property detail page. You'll also get that brokerage report that's going to showcase all the traffic you're getting on all these publishing sites, the location of your online consumers, how your agents are competing against each other, what listings in your inventory are the most sought out, and then you're also going to get phone support as well. We have our annual pricing and our price month to month. We always offer a special when we come out to presentations. You can get all these reports for your whole office month to month for $39. You buy 1 month, you get 1 month free. So for 60 days, you can try it out. We break it down by the number of agents you have in the office. So if you have 6 to 20 agents, it'll be $79 a month. If you want to lock into an annual pricing, say if you feel like your business is going to grow or you don't want to pay monthly, you can lock into the annual. It's buy 10 months, get 4 months free. So that's the service that we or the special that we're offering you. It says special only offered today. We get this PowerPoint from our VP of sales, but we always, some people have to go back and think about it or whatever. I'll offer it to probably Friday or Monday next week.
So is it 4 or 2? Is it 1 year?
Well, it's 1 year, which is 12 months plus 2, but if you do the math by 10 months, so we're only timesing everything by 10 to make it a little easier. So by 10 months, get 4 months free, or biannually, get 2 months, because you're going to get 14 months. They're both 14 months of service. Does that make sense? The handout that you have is what we give people when they don't have a special going on. So if you want to just not look at this and say, buy a year and get 2 months free. So buy a year, get 14 months of service, basically, which is the same thing as buying technically 10 and getting 4 months free. You'll also get training. This is Lisa. She's based out of Denver. When you purchase the reports, you'll get training from her. She'll call you. She'll say, okay, how does this work best with your office? Do we do webinars? Do I send you training material? Do I send you YouTube videos? Do you have monthly meetings that we could present then and do a webinar? Completely up to you and your brokerage. So, also too, you'll see in your handout that there is a Pro Plus option as well. The Pro Plus option is putting your broker website metrics on the report. This is an extra cost. You'll see that it's about $100 more. So if you want this added bonus, we could put it on your report to see how much traffic you're getting from your own sites, the views, the click-throughs, the leads, etc. So it's kind of Google Analytics for your own website. Yes.
How much traffic that's flowing through ListHub to our own websites, or how much business our website is doing?
How much business your website is doing.
And how do you get that info?
we connect, if you opt into this, which is the Pro Plus package, we work with your website vendor to put a little widget on the back end of your website, like a Google Analytic tracker. So when people come to your website and view your properties, they put in a web-lead form. If they can call you from their mobile, if you have a mobile app, or if they can call you from their phone, from the actual website, and it pops up, we can track all that information. They have an IP address, so if they're on your website, we can find out where they're located as well.
And
So we
that's
track-
not shared with anybody?
It's just shared, all these reports will only be shared with your brokerage. So, did you have a question? Okay. And so if you look in the handout that I gave you, because we just added this not too long ago, you'll see that it's just a little bit more, 1 to 5 agents is gonna be $59 a month, so $590 for the whole year. Yep.
If the franchise sites, does it track the franchise sites within a market?
Like, say, Coldwell Banker.
Eau Claire.
Yeah, Eau Claire. It's Coldwell Banker Corporate. So what that means is if I go to coldwellbanker.com, just because I've worked with Coldwell Banker agents before, and I type in a listing, and it actually showcases you and not a Coldwell Banker brokerage, because it's your listing, that, like, all that information and all those leads will go directly to you. It doesn't go to a Coldwell Banker brokerage here. Does that make sense? So we don't do, like, local Coldwell Banker. If there is, like, Coldwell Banker, Eau Claire, realtors, or, Premier, and that's actually a brokerage, the brokerage can put this on their website metrics, or on their reports as well, and we can track that, but we don't syndicate listings to them. Does that make sense? You sure? Okay. So just some key takeaways: the internet is more important than ever, and you need to, catch up with the consumers online. We all know that there is a big presence there. Client communication is the cornerstone of your business, because referrals and repeat customers are everything. Don't just shoot in the dark with your advertising dollars. I know a lot of you, or all of you, said that you don't spend a dime with any of these sites, but a lot of your competitors are. So if you need to find out exactly where to be spending that money, these reports are actually going to show you where you're going to need to spend those marketing dollars, and then be ahead of the curve with ListHub data. So that's all I have today. I'm sorry if we ran a little bit over on time, but I am here. I have another presentation in a little bit, but I'm here for questions. You guys all got my business card. If you have any questions when you leave, feel free to email me. I can also email you a copy of this presentation. I got most of you, everyone signed in. If you didn't, I don't think anyone came in super late. So if you didn't sign in, just make sure that you're on the list. I can also send this PowerPoint presentation to you guys as well, so if it's something you guys want to review over later today or tomorrow.